Well, the leaves are falling, and that means the Maple Leaf Festival is here in Carthage. I'm Samantha Walker, and coming up, I'll have more on this year's celebrations.
From writing tickets to picking up trash, I'm Blake Gully. Coming up, how one local police chief hopes a cleaner city is a safer one.
And one man's 20-year struggle with tremors ends with a revolutionary 1-hour procedure. His remarkable recovery story ahead.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A McCune, Kansas man pleads guilty to killing his grandson and awaits sentencing next month. This is KOAM News. I'm Tanya Bach. John Fox accepted a plea deal that reduces his second-degree murder charge to voluntary manslaughter. The 70-year-old also pleaded guilty to criminal discharge of a firearm. Sentencing for Fox is set for November 17th. Now, Fox shot and killed 28-year-old Ian Fox of Lexington, Kentucky during a family visit on August 7th, 2023. The shooting happened just before 1 a.m. at a home on 5th Street in McCune. Deputies found Ian Fox unresponsive outside the residence with a gunshot wound. Life-saving efforts failed. Former Sheriff Danny Smith says other family members witnessed the incident. 2 residents suffered from a minor smoke inhalation in a house fire in Granby, Missouri this morning. One person had to climb out of a window to escape. The home on North Gamble Street was fully involved in flames and the roof collapsed. The Red Cross has been contacted to help the family. The annual Maple Leaf Festival, underway in Carthage, began in 1966. The 9-day festival features dozens of events scheduled through the 19th. KOAM Samantha Walker has the details on this year's celebrations.
Fall is officially underway here in Carthage, which means in the city square, you're not only going to see plenty of falling leaves, but you're also going to see plenty of maple leaf activities underway, both old and new.
I like to say the movers and shakers got together and said there needs to be more to embrace the beauty of Carthage and celebrate the fall foliage of what we have to offer here in town. So born was parade and activities for 9 days that everyone could come out and enjoy.
What began as a band festival, 59 years later, Maple Leaf has become a beloved tradition, featuring local vendors, a parade, and activities ranging from a chicken pageant, chili cook-off, and free concerts.
We work a long time to bring all of these activities and enhance new things so people can come and celebrate with us what Carthage means to everyone in the surrounding area.
New activities this year include a concert on the square after the parade, as well as a toy con held at the Fair Acres YMCA.
I encourage everyone to visit our website at carthagechamber.com for a full list of events.
This year's festival theme is a city of pure imagination, celebrating Carthage's continuing growth and bright future.
Carthage is going through a whole lot of changes. We have that ability to create Carthage any way we want, and with all of our new businesses and the beautification that we have to offer. A city of pure imagination, making it anything that we want.
Reporting in Carthage, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Organizers say they have a big need for volunteers for this year's Maple Leaf, especially along the parade route. Anyone willing to lend a hand is encouraged to reach out to the Carthage Chamber of Commerce to learn how to get involved. Meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney joins us now with a first look at weather.
Well, temperatures tonight only dropping down to the mid-60s. We also could still see a couple of isolated showers still wanting to linger around. Most of these showers are already starting to die, as you can see just north of Pittsburgh, but we don't want to rule out an isolated shower or two as we head into Tuesday morning. So here we are about 3 a.m., maybe one moving out into the Fort Scott area. We'll get some partly cloudy skies as well. All of this does start to dwindle once we move through most of the day on Tuesday. We get some sunshine there in the afternoon, so about 4:30, 83 in Joplin, 82 in Pittsburgh. We get a lot more sunshine as well. Overall, it's going to be a pretty warm couple of days. Winds are already starting to shift out of the east, and then we're eventually going to get into some southerly winds, bringing those temperatures back up to the mid-80s all week long. But I'll have those details coming up.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Company officials at the Coffeyville, Kansas fertilizer facility are investigating after an ammonia release on Saturday. According to the parent company, CVR Energy, the incident happened at the Coffeyville Resources nitrogen fertilizer around 4 p.m. CVR Energy says Several people were taken to emergency rooms in Coffeyville and Independence for evaluation. As of this afternoon, though, CVR had not yet provided an update on the number or condition of those individuals. One local police chief is rolling up his sleeves. He says cleaner streets could lead to safer neighborhoods. KOAM's Blake Gully shows us how a community cleanup effort in liberal Missouri is turning into something bigger.
For the last few years, trash and junk piling up in some liberal neighborhoods has been a growing concern. Police say it's more than just an eyesore, it's a problem that affects everyone.
It's been an ongoing issue. There's people that are passionate on both ends of the spectrum. You know, of course, nobody wants to live next to a house that's riddled with trash. It decreases their property value. It causes rodent problems. It causes insect problems.
Twice a year, Chief Stephan and a group of volunteers head out to clean up properties across town, loading up trash, clearing weeds, and hauling debris to the dump. But he says not everyone appreciates the help.
I went out there and specifically said, hey, look, we've got a group of volunteers. Let's get this done. Let's get it cleaned up. And they just absolutely refused. So one of them slammed the door in my face. So, you know, at that point, there's nothing more I can do other than issue citations.
Keeping the city clean is not just about appearances. The police chief says it can also help prevent crime.
The big thing about it's not just about appearance, it's about reducing crime. If somebody sees a trashy city, they're going to come in and think that this is an okay place to commit other crimes. Kind of a broken windows effect, you know. So we would like to keep the appearance up that this is a well-kept area. It's well watched. People actually care about their community.
The city hopes their hard work inspires more residents to take pride in their neighborhood. Reporting in Liberal, Missouri, Blake Gully, KOAM News.
Now, the police chief says he'll continue working with the community to avoid writing citations whenever possible. Well, coming up, hostages released.
After more than 2 years, the remaining living hostages are freed from Gaza. I'm Rebecca Castor in Tel Aviv with a look at their release coming up.
But up first, a new treatment helps Parkinson's patients regain control of their tremors without surgery. For patients who suffer from tremors and symptoms due to Parkinson's, there's a new treatment that's turning out to be a game changer for daily life. Doctors in Columbia, South Carolina are spreading the benefits of focused ultrasound therapy. And it's now being put to use at one hospital in the state. Kiona Jordan spoke to one man who's had the treatment.
Pretend like you're taking a drink.
I can't do it.
This is what we want to see, because when you're done, you're going to be able to help. All right, one more time.
68-year-old Keith Pinwarden says he struggled with tremors for nearly 20 years. Holding tools, making coffee, even feeding his dogs. Everyday tasks becoming nearly impossible.
I couldn't text anybody because my son would always text me. And I said, don't text me, call me.
He says while his doctors were trying to figure out what was wrong, he grew tired of trying different medications that weren't helping.
And I just was fed up, and I just told my doctor that we have to find another solution to this.
Until he found out about another solution. Focused ultrasound therapy at Prisma Health Richland in Columbia.
The great thing with focused ultrasound, it does provide a tremendous amount of therapy, incisionless. Patients don't have implants to worry about.
It's done by using a helmet-like device. Patients are awake through the entire procedure, and neurosurgeon Dr. Erwin Mangubat says it only takes about an hour compared to another treatment they offer called deep brain stimulation.
You know, with that type of procedure, it is more of an open procedure, uses implants. So that's usually takes anywhere from probably around 3 hours.
Pinwarden says focused ultrasound has given him back a chance at living a normal life again.
Doing my coffee in the morning without having to have that all over the floor. I don't have to worry about shaking so much, giving my mom her breakfast, having that all over the floor. Feeding my dogs in their dish without having it all over the floor. It's been wonderful. I've been smiling from ear to ear.
Well, doctors encourage patients to speak with their healthcare provider to see if they are eligible to receive the therapy. High-efficiency air purifiers are not enough to keep viruses from spreading in school. Researchers with Mass General Brigham found classrooms with HEPA filters still left students exposed to a high level of respiratory viruses, including those that cause RSV and the flu. The study did find that keeping humidity between 40 and 60% may help lower viral exposures. People with ADHD are more creative because they let their mind wander. Researchers in the Netherlands say their research could lead to new programs and treatments that teach those with ADHD how to better utilize that wandering. Lindsay's next with a complete look at your forecast. And later, markets bounce back as Trump reassures investors about China relations.
It was a rainy day today. Now we can go ahead and take a look at what our rain is showing right now. Current radar, most of the showers are just to the north of us, even to the north of Kansas City, but we have a few lingering showers that are going to try and make it into the area overnight tonight. Most of the winds are already starting to shift, though, back out of the east, which means we're back to warmer weather for the rest of the week. Now, taking a look at downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex, looking dry out there in Joplin. Like I said, these winds are already starting to shift, so by Tuesday morning, we're looking at east-southeast, and then by Tuesday afternoon, back to the south. So those southerly winds are going to be bringing in much warmer temperatures. We're going to be hitting about 84 to 85 on Tuesday and sticking around in the mid-80s for the rest of the week. Again, we could see some morning showers we want to watch out for, though they wouldn't be a big disruption to your morning commute. So about, again, 85 in Miami, 86 in Veneta, 87 in Nowata. It's pretty warm out there. Only 80 in Nevada and Monette, not too bad. As we head into Wednesday, still those easterly, southeasterly winds. 86 in Joplin, Lamar, Nevada, Carthage, up to Stockton. 85 in Neodesha, so most of us sitting in that mid-80 range. And then again on Thursday, mid to lower 80s, so we're starting to cool down just slightly. And the same thing on Friday, again, low 80s. So all week long, about 10 to even 15 degrees above average. Outside of that, nothing happening until Friday. It's going to be pretty dry, might get some clouds, but overall, rain holding off until Friday afternoon. So here we are, 4:30. We have some isolated showers developing along a front. Now this cold front, you can see where those winds are shifting. Pretty strong front, and that's going to really bring in some cool temperatures. It also could bring in some strong storms, so we have this pretty nice setup, a long line of storms developing along that cold front. Continues to push through the area. For our area, overnight into early Saturday morning, we're already at 4:35 a.m. We get some strong storms there, southeastern Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma, right along I-44. But as it moves out of the area by Saturday morning, and I know we've got some parades in the area, so hopefully it'll move out quickly, those storms really start to fire off and even get a severe threat south of us, southeast, mostly in Arkansas and eastern parts of Missouri and western parts of Tennessee. We're back to the clear by 10 p.m. on Saturday. Most of those clouds are going to be out of there by late Saturday evening as well. So we go back into some cooler temperatures because of that front and the overcast skies. 77 on Saturday, 71 on Sunday, which is average for us. And Sunday morning, we're getting down to the low 50s, and even a lot of us will be in the 40s. Now, we have not hit 40s yet this year, this fall, so that's going to be a really welcome change. That Sunday is right on average where it should be, but we warm right back up to the 80s.
Yeah, at least it's going to be a little bit cooler this weekend, kind of.
A little bit.
At least out
Sunday,
of the 80s.
definitely. Yeah.
Out of the 80s.
Yes.
Better than nothing. All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, if you're looking for fun fall events right here in the 4 states but don't know where to turn, we've got you covered. Just scan this handy QR code and head straight to the events page of our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. You'll find information on all kinds of family fun events, including fall festivals and some scary and not so scary haunted houses. That's the events page at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, coming up next, more tariff talk.
Markets rebounding Monday as President Trump changes up his rhetoric on China. I'm Edward Lawrence at the White House. I'll have details coming up.
President Trump hedges his rhetoric on China after the threat of new tariffs sparked panic in the markets last week. The future of trade between the two countries is still up in the air, though administration officials say they remain committed to working out a deal. Fox Business correspondent Edward Lawrence reports from the White House.
Stocks rallying on Monday after President Trump softens his tone on China. Friday saw a big sell-off when President Trump threatened a new 100% additional tariff on Beijing after China said it would curb exports of rare earth metals, critical components to building a range of technologies.
This is China versus the world. They have pointed a bazooka at the supply chains and the industrial base of the entire free world, and we're not going to have it.
Sunday, the president sought to reassure investors, writing on Truth Social, "Don't worry about China, it will all be fine." The de-escalation comes as the world's two biggest economies are still trying to hammer out a comfortable relationship on trade.
The President of the United States has far more cards than the People's Republic of China. If, however, they're willing to be reasonable, then Donald Trump is always willing to be a reasonable negotiator.
Meanwhile, tariffs are taking a toll on retailers ahead of the holiday season. Shoppers can expect to pay anywhere from 10 to 30% more for a Halloween costume.
This year, I think I'm just going to try and go off of a lot of what I have and already have in my closet from past costumes.
Businesses are also expected to slow down seasonal hiring or even cut back on their existing workforce.
Because of the tariffs, we had to do layoffs for the first time in the company's history. It's been a nightmare.
President Trump and Chinese President Xi are set to meet in South Korea face-to-face at the end of this month. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent believes that meeting is still on. At the White House, Edward Lawrence, Fox Business.
Well, silver is notching record levels as investors rush to safe havens. Silver prices jumped more than 6% Monday, hitting over $50 an ounce. Goldman Sachs says silver is riding the same wave as gold, with investors flocking to precious metals as the Fed cuts interest rates. Apple faces a lawsuit over how it trains its artificial intelligence. Two neuroscience professors sued Apple after alleging the company used their copyrighted books to train its AI. The professors claim Apple trained AI models by pirating their copyrighted books through shadow libraries and web crawling software. The lawsuit says the professors are seeking an unspecified amount for damages and an order for Apple to stop using their books. This is the second lawsuit against the company over its AI training in the last 2 months. Coming up next, Halloween excitement builds as California crowns its champion pumpkin weighing over a ton. Halloween is just over 2 weeks away, but excitement is already building in Northern California, where a huge pumpkin contest was held on Monday. 4 pumpkins made the finals at the 52nd annual Half Moon Bay World Championship Pumpkin Weigh-Off. Using a 5-ton digital scale, judges gave the grand prize for this one, coming in at more than 2,300 pounds.
Brandon Dawson from Santa Rosa, thanks for coming to Half Moon Bay. Let's see how much it weighs. 2, 3, 4, 6.
Well, the first place winner gets $9 for each pound the pumpkin weighs, making this year's winner worth more than $21,000. Wow. In 2023, a 2,749-pound pumpkin set a record. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Portland's naked bike protest targets National Guard deployment plans. And President Trump joins world leaders to officially end the Gaza war.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. A partial win for the Trump administration over the weekend in its effort to send National Guard troops to the Chicago area. But the White House is getting a lot of pushback to troop deployments to several cities across the country. Fox's Caroline Shively has the latest from Washington.
Stripping the issue to its core, protesters take to the streets of Portland, Oregon Sunday in their own unique way, with a naked bike ride. Hundreds pedaled through the city to protest ongoing ICE operations and the potential deployment of National Guard troops.
We're here because we strongly believe that we do not need federal troops in Portland.
We're doing it for something bigger than just like freedom of expression. You know, we're doing it for human rights.
A federal appeals court is currently weighing whether troops can be sent into Portland, while a separate court is doing the same for deployments in Illinois. A court there ruled Saturday that soldiers can remain in the state and under federal control, but cannot be deployed to protect federal property or go on patrol.
We've got to rely on the courts to do the right thing. I realize that sometimes that's risky business, especially when some have been appointed by Donald Trump.
Governor Pritzker has allowed a lot of people to be killed in the city of Chicago and elsewhere. He absolutely should suffer some consequences.
The court in Illinois did not address the larger question of whether President Trump has the authority to deploy the Guard.
And the question comes down to, does a judge get to say, I disagree with the president's analysis of whether these objective tests have been met, like has there been an insurrection or an invasion, for example, or do the courts have to give deference to the president because he's the commander-in-chief?
The pause on deployments in Portland and Chicago are temporary as courts continue to review the cases. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Well, nor'easters lashing coastal communities from the Carolinas to New England with heavy rain, strong winds, and dangerous waves. Tens of thousands of customers lost power up and down the East Coast. The National Weather Service recorded winds topping 60 miles per hour in New Jersey, which is under a state of emergency along with portions of New York State. The storm flooded roads across the region. Dozens of flights have been delayed or canceled.
We're delayed 74 minutes, but we're expecting more delays.
I got a deck of cards. We're going to play gin rummy and maybe hearts, and we're just going to act like we were hanging out like we were earlier.
The nor'easter is on track to move out to sea tonight. After more than 2 years of war between Israel and Hamas, President Trump is declaring an end to the fighting. And today, the remaining living Israeli hostages were released from Gaza. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has more.
It is a day unlike any other day here in Israel, with the last living hostages returning home. Cheers erupting across Israel as crowds learned that hostages were turned over to the Red Cross safely and are being transferred to the Israeli military. A nightmare over after more than 700 days in Hamas captivity.
We're finally getting peace.
Hospitals in Israel are ready to begin helping hostages recover, while their family members are overwhelmed with emotions watching their release and wait to reunite. Large crowds also gathered in Tel Aviv to welcome them back home.
These are the thousands of people here in Hostage Square wanting to take in this moment together. They're anxiously watching the screen and cheering every time they get word that a hostage has made it to the border.
Israel says 20 living hostages will be exchanged for more than 1,900 Palestinian prisoners. And there's strong mixed emotions. Israeli officials have prepared some families that they will not be receiving their loved ones' bodies today because Hamas needs more time to find them.
Some of us are here to stay until the last person comes home.
President Donald Trump is being claimed the president of peace around Israel. He met with hostage families today before speaking with Israel's parliament.
This is not only the end of a war. This is the end of an age of terror and death and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and God. It's the start of a grand concord and lasting harmony for Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent region.
President Trump will then head to Egypt for a peace summit with other world leaders for further talks on reconstructing Gaza. In Tel Aviv, Rebecca Castor, Fox News. Lindsay's next with a complete look at your forecast, and later, Fox on Games.
Keeping kids safe while they're gaming online is a constant battle, and Sony is out with new tools for parents to help make sure they're not falling prey to bad actors on the internet. I'm Eamon Dignam in New York. I'll have the details coming up.
We had some showers in the area through most of the day today. Let's go ahead and take a look at where they're at now. Most of the area is clear. We got some showers to the north of Wichita and to the north of Kansas City, but our area is looking pretty clear. Most of those showers have died down. Joplin, downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex looks pretty dry out there as well, so we're looking good. Now, as we head through the rest of the week, this was a front that moved through, but winds by Tuesday morning are already out of the east-southeast, and they're going to continue to shift out of the south. So we're getting southerly winds by Tuesday, which means we're going to get those warmer temperatures again. 84 on Tuesday. We're getting into the mid-80s for the rest of the week. Could still see a couple of those isolated morning showers, but for the most part, we're going to be dry throughout the week as well. So warm and dry again. I mean, it's like summer doesn't want to go away. 83 in Joplin, 84 in Pittsburgh, 81 in the 8 Center, not too bad. 80 in Monette on Tuesday. On Wednesday, 86 in Joplin, Pittsburgh, Fort Scott, 86 out there in Veneta, 85 in Welch. Really not much cooler anywhere else. Thursday is about the same, low to mid 80s again. That range 81 to about 84, 84 in Veneta, Miami, Pittsburgh. And on Friday, pretty identical to Thursday. The only difference is Friday, we're actually going to get some rain chances. Again, we're dry most of the week, but here we are in the afternoon on Friday. We get some isolated showers starting to develop along a cold front. Now this cold front sets up, just a beautiful line of storms. We're really only going to see some potential for strong storms in the area. We are still several days out, so it's something we want to keep an eye on. But most of these storms don't really ramp off until we get out of the area. So just for us, Friday afternoon into Saturday early morning, we're going to get some rain and some thunderstorms, maybe some strong winds. So here we are, 4 a.m. on Saturday, line of storms continuing to push through, making it out of our area southeast. Now by 9 to 10 a.m., we do have some parades going on. So hoping most of this rain clears out by then, but get a severe threat just to the south of us. So that's something that we want to keep an eye on as we go through the week in case this shifts a little bit further to the north. That could be affecting us. But mostly it's going to be for central Arkansas, central Missouri, and out to western Tennessee. Now, because of that front, temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 70s on Saturday, low 70s on Sunday, and we actually start Sunday morning off in the 40s. So Sunday is our exact fall day. That's where we should be this time of year, pretty average day. Then we go back into the 80s by the start of next week. Our next front coming in around the 23rd, 24th, 25th, and that's going to reinforce some cold air.
I'm ready for it to stay in the 70s.
Me too.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, what happens when you put 100 sausage dogs on a racetrack in Munich? Well, chaos and cuteness at the International Dachshund Competition. Dogs from 3 countries compete while some ignore the race entirely. The event features dog dancing and multiple racing categories. Organizers say the owners care more about winning than the dogs do. Well, still ahead, the Kansas City Chiefs picked up a big win at home on Sunday night, defeating the Detroit Lions 30-17. When we return, KOAM Sports Director Ryan Blank recaps the Chiefs' win with a special guest. Stay tuned to find out who after this.
The Kansas City Chiefs are back in the win column, improving to 3-3 on the season with a win over the Detroit Lions on Sunday. I was at the game and with a special guest on the field after as we recap the action from the Chiefs' victory. The Kansas City Chiefs are coming off a dominant win under the lights on Sunday night over the Detroit Lions. I am now joined by NFL beat reporter and Chiefs reporter for ESPN, Nate Taylor. And Nate, first off, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And how about this, right? 3-3 after 6 games.
3-3 after last week. Looked a little disappointing, had a lead, but the big thing was 13 penalties. But coming into tonight, 0 accepted penalties. What do you think was a big difference and kind of seeing them play that disciplined ball that they were looking for?
Yeah, I'm so glad you said the word discipline. This is the first time through a whole 60-minute stretch where I can say the offense, the defense, special teams, everybody was focused, everybody concentrated, and they were very disciplined to lead to no penalties. And look, this is now an actual recipe. Like, if they play like this, they can pretty much beat just about any team in the league. And so doing it against a good competition in the Lions, getting off the loss in Jacksonville, which was, again, a wild finish, it shows you the potential that this team has.
Yeah, and you mentioned that potential and this team coming off of that loss, but a big thing going into this week was 4th down.
Yes.
Knowing how aggressive the Lions are on 4th down, but also the Chiefs' success, 9 of 10 going into this week on 4th down conversions, and they won that battle. What does that say about the Chiefs' ability to not only convert, but also their ability defensively to make those big plays.
Yeah, on the offensive side, what's fascinating is, we know we're never going to see Mahomes do a quarterback sneak. So you take that out of the playbook, and it actually allows him to pass the ball more often. That's what we saw on the first drive, him passing the ball to Xavier Worthy for the opening touchdown. And on defense, because of the aggressiveness that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes have shown this season, now you get the sense that the defense understands, okay, we're actually ready for fourth down. I think that's one of the quick things that we're learning about this team is that the defense is actually ready for fourth down. They get the stop, in the middle of the second quarter. That leads to the Chiefs getting another score. They double up in the second half to get another touchdown. That's where that 10-point lead, that cushion comes from, is because you're aggressive on fourth down, you execute, and you actually stop the other team because you're more prepared based on going against that offense week in, week out in practice.
Yeah, and you mentioned Xavier Worthy had his first score of the year, but Hollywood Brown, he had 2 touchdowns. I mean, you're seeing the weapons that this team has, and Mahomes mentioned the protection of the offensive line, of course, but seeing the weapons that the Chiefs have and how they've been able to get into a rhythm offensively, what can you say about what you've seen from them so far, but also adding Rashee Rice coming back next week?
It's only going to get better. And think about this, we didn't even hear from Tyquan Thornton tonight. That's how many weapons they have. You can trust Travis Kelce on third down. I think that's key because it allows guys like Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown to really work in the red zone, right? You use Kelce to move down the field, and now you're going to have Rashee Rice coming in to the fold, and it's where does the defense find the what I like to say is, who is the identicator, right? When you line up, who do I think the ball's going to go to the most? Honestly, I don't know now, especially if you're someone like the Las Vegas Raiders who has to watch tape of this, knowing that, okay, Hollywood Brown had 2 touchdowns. Xavier Worthy's come back and played really well since coming back from the injury. You have Tyquan Thornton, who could beat you over the top, but wasn't even necessary against the Lions, and you just add Rashee Rice into this, who arguably is their best receiver. I know that might sound strange because we have not seen him yet. We haven't seen him in over a year, but his talent, based on what I've heard from the guys in the locker room, he can be dynamic, and he can just add to this offense where you feel comfortable going forward on fourth down because you have so many options to throw the ball to. And when you can trust Mahomes with a number of good players, it usually leads to you having one of the best offenses in the NFL.
Nate, thank you so much for taking the time with me, answering some questions, and giving us that extra insight because you're somebody who's around the team, has great insight, so I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you so much. This was a blast. I appreciate it.
That's it for me, reporting live from Arrowhead. Chiefs get a statement win, looking to bounce back once again, get above 500 with a win against the Raiders next week. Reporting. To check out the full segment with Nate and I, head over to our website at KOAMnews.com. That's it for your sports. We're back with more after this.
With online safety in focus this month, Fox News spoke exclusively with Sony's vice president about new steps they're taking to make their gaming landscapes more family-friendly and put parents in control of the content their kids consume. Fox's Eamon Digman has more in this edition of our Fox on Games series.
Sony Interactive is serious about keeping parents in the loop about what their young PlayStation users are up to with its new safety app for mobile devices.
You can see across a week or a time how your child has been using the PlayStation, what games they've been playing, what friends they've been playing with.
Sony Interactive Vice President Katherine Jensen spoke to Fox on Games exclusively about this app and how she and her team are passionate about online safety.
That's within our DNA, and online safety is one component.
The new push comes as safety is in the spotlight for many parents due to child predators being found inside the popular game Roblox. That investigation by To Catch a Predator host Chris Hansen, working with what Roblox calls a vigilante, a user named Schlep, Jensen said while Sony is partnered with Roblox, PlayStation safety protocols are significantly different.
We use a combination of technology as well as skilled human moderators to really look at the content and make sure that, again, it's appropriate for our platform.
There's also the new nudge feature, an effort to combat toxic conversations by giving someone the chance to rethink a message they might send in chat.
So we're trying to give players time and just the opportunity to rethink, hey, is this what I want to send now? Is this what I want to send to this player?
Listen to this week's Fox on Games podcast to hear more about how you can keep your kids safe while they're gaming online. In New York, Eamon Digman, Fox News.
Fantastic Four First Steps leads this week's new home releases with a 1960s-inspired superhero adventure. The movie roundup coming up next. A superhero adventure, a high-octane blockbuster, and music stars are among the latest digital DVD and music releases available to add to your home library. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin runs down the list of what's new in home entertainment.
Please welcome the Fantastic Four.
The sci-fi superhero adventure Fantastic Four First Steps tops this week's list of new home releases. Set in a 1960s-inspired retro-futuristic world, Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Eben Moss-Backrack, and Joseph Quinn star as Marvel's first family, battling Galactus and the Silver Surfer to protect Earth.
I need you to trust me. One last time.
Tom Cruise is back in action as Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. In the last chapter of the franchise, Hunt races to shut down a rogue AI before it triggers global chaos, while rival governments and an old enemy close in.
We're talking about 17 kids.
Julia Garner and Josh Brolin star in Weapons. The horror mystery unfolds in a small town where 17 students from the same class vanish at the exact same time, sparking panic and suspicion.
That's always kind of been her thing, right? Drawing?
All kids like to draw.
Tony Hale, Darcy Carden, and Bianca Barry Tarantino lead the fantasy comedy adventure Sketch, where a young girl's drawings come to life, and her family must stop the chaos they never meant to unleash.
From now on, we're on our own.
The action crime thriller She Rides Shotgun stars Taron Egerton and Anna Sophia Hager as a father-daughter duo on the run from deadly enemies, forging a bond as they fight to survive. In music, Steve Martin and Alison Brown team up for their debut collaborative album, Safe, Sensible, and Sane, featuring a lineup of guest artists including Jackson Browne. And Icelandic indie folk band of Monsters and Men return with All Is Love and Pain in the Mouse Parade, their first album in 6 years. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of armadillos enjoying festive pumpkins at the Rhode Island Zoo. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.